All the time I get asked the question, why buy organic? What's the point? Well, a research study published here just a few days ago, you can see the environmental health perspectives. This research study was published on the quantity of herbicides that are being found in the food and how that impacts our youth. And so you can see here, again, a quote from the study. Many chronic diseases and mental health disorders in adolescents and young adults have increased over the last 2 decades worldwide, and exposure to neurotoxic contaminants in the environment could explain a part of this increase. At least these are the words of Jose Ricardo Suarez, the senior researcher involved in this study. So what did they find in this research study? They found that glyphosate, used in many crops, including corn and soy, and for vegetation control in residential settings as a weed killer, was detected in 98% of the participants in the study. They also found a chemical called 2,4-D, a broadleaf herbicide used in lawns and on aquatic sites. They use these in ponds and lakes, as well as on agricultural crops, was detected in 66% of participants. So what are we saying here? That, 2 different chemicals found, one of them glyphosate in 98%, the other 2,4-D found in 66%. Now, here's what they also said. Higher amounts of 2,4-D in urine were associated with lower neurobehavioral performance in the domains of attention and inhibitory control, memory and learning, as well as language. In other words, this T4D chemical, if your kid had higher levels in their urine, they had problems with memory and learning and language. They had problems with behavioral control, inhibitory control. We see this more and more and more in our school systems. The kids are out of control. We've got to bring in extra help across the board. What else did they find? They found that glyphosate concentration in urine was associated with lower scores in social perception. So between 2,4-D and glyphosate, both compounds affecting the neurobehavior of your children. So when I say eat organic, in part it's to save the children, in part it's to save your children. And if you don't love your children, who will? We've got to get the crap out of the food. We've got to get the chemicals under control. And only you can. And you have to speak with your dollars, and you have to speak with your choices. Now, the number one argument I hear from people is organic is too expensive. But I would ask you to ask yourself this question: are your kids worth it? If your kids are worth it, you've got to make it happen. You've got to make a way to get it done. I would encourage you to join a local food co-op where you can buy organic foods at much lower cost than, say, in the grocery store. I'd also encourage those of you who have the space in your yards, potentially think about growing your own food and get involved with the local farming communities. Get involved with your local farmers. Let's find out what they're doing and let's encourage them to do it the right way, because if we don't impact this change, you can guarantee that the industry's growing all this nonsense, using all these chemicals to increase their yields. They're going to keep profiting off of the destruction of your children's mental health. And if that's what you want, keep buying non-organic food. Beyond that, you've got to figure out a way to do it right for your kids.